Okay, I'm here with Herman Mendez, it's Handball Social, interviewing Herman. Herman, you've been playing for a long time. I see you all over YouTube. When did you start playing handball?
Tournament-wise, or for?
Nah, like when did you start? Like who?
Long story behind that. I started handball, I want to say like in the 6th grade. I must have been like 12 years old, something like that, in junior high school.
Where was that?
School centers. Jackson Heights. I grew up in Jackson Heights. I played Nice 145 over on Northern and 79th Street, something like that. And ever since then, I just picked it up and kept going with it.
Did anybody introduce you to the game? Like, was it an elder? Was it a friend? Was it a parent?
It was my uncle. Growing up, my 2 youngest uncles, me being the oldest nephew. It's ironic because I'm a baseball player, not a handball player. I turned out to be a handball player. My 2 uncles, they both played basketball. The difference between both of them was one played handball and the other one played softball, baseball. Depending on who took me to the park, that's what I ended up playing at that particular day. So if he played basketball, I played basketball. If he played softball, baseball, that's what I played. And if I played handball, that's what it was. So
were those first courts in Jackson Heights?
Yeah, over on 90th Street and 34th Avenue with the guys from our old neighborhood. We grew up playing there. Originally, it used to be on 90th and Northern, but I think like within the first 2 years of me playing, they closed down the park to remodel it, and then we moved over to 93rd and 34th on Northern.
And when you were playing in those courts, who were like your mentors? Did you have any mentors?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have some guys you emulated?
Yeah, I had Tony Corona, I had my man Louis, Eddie. After a while, I had the Hall of Famer Eddie Masonette come through. We had a guy named Birdie, Rob, Morris.
And what park was this?
Right on Northern and 93rd Street, right across the street from the 115 precinct.
Okay.
So I had a lot of mentors. Ivan, I don't want to get all racial or anything, but that was the names. He passed a while back. We call him Black Mike.
Okay.
Sorry, Black Will. Then we had Black Mike. I can't. After a while, even Emmett Fitzpatrick came to our park.
Wow.
Because to my understanding, his first job was with my friend Louis and Eddie at a gas station pumping. And while they were the mechanics, he was the guy, fueling up cars. So he would come around to our neighborhood and play.
So when did you feel like this is like something you get serious about?
Another Hall of Famer, Eddie Masonette. I think I was 18, somewhere around those lines. He took me to a small ball tournament in Coney Island. While I was in high school, I played small ball for a little while before I got bored of it. And then he took me out, and once I got into the tournament crowd, back then we used to give out flyers. It wasn't like the internet now and all this other stuff going on.
Yeah, you just see them posted up all over the place.
And word of mouth. And then I took a liking to it, and then that's where I met other players, more skillful, and I just took an interest to it. And that's when my tournament career started with him.
When did you win your first tournament?
My first unorganized tournament, it was a local tournament in a park called 112, right off of 37th Avenue. One of my mentors, Louis, took me, and we ended up playing, which is a long-time friend of ours, Mario, and a guy named Billy. Back then, it wasn't really a ranking system.
Right.
It was a general system, so I'm assuming we were all Bs or we were all top players. It was basically you had $20. Okay, you want to enter, go. And we ended up winning, me and my boy Louis. And they gave us a medal, and I can't even remember.
Do you know what year that was?
I think I was like 17 years old, so at 17, this must have been 92, 93.
Okay. And after that, did you just get more aggressive with the tournaments, like playing in the tournaments?
Definitely. I picked up on it. Like I said, it was flyers posted. Back then, I didn't have a car, so my friends then, the older guys, my mentors, they took me around in their cars and they just let me free. I just started playing, and I became one of the guys from the neighborhood park that everybody was proud of, and they kept pushing me forward to play.
So you were traveling?
Yeah, I started traveling from neighborhood to neighborhood. Growing up, like I said, I'm originally from Jackson Heights. I was born in Jamaica, but then we moved to Jackson Heights. Then from there, all the local parks started playing, Elmhurst and Broadway, and my Colombian side of the family grew up in Broadway area. So that's where I ended up coming out of Elmhurst and Broadway Park. So basically I was Jackson Heights, Elmhurst area, local park player.
So you said 92 you won your first tournament, unofficial type of tournament, but when did you get your A card? How much longer after that?
My partner back then was Jose Guava. St. Albans gave it to me, I want to say 95, something like that, somewhere along those lines.
Like 3 years later after your first tournament win. Wow. And then I see you traveling a lot. I see you on Facebook traveling a lot. When did you start doing that? Like, when did that start coming
Those
up?
adventures started back in 2003. A friend of mine proposed it to me if you wanted to go to Ireland. I looked at it like, okay, let's go on a vacation, and that's exactly what happened. That's how it went down. I was just like, I had no knowledge about it or anything, and my thing was just let me know how much is the airfare, and let's get it done. What do we do? I want to go away, see I guess different perspective of handball in another country, and I was looking at it more like a vacation. So that's when it happened, and my first trip, 2003, was to Ireland, Kilkenny, Dublin area, out there with GAA.
And how the players compared to the New York players you see here?
They were up and coming. They were very skillful. They were hungry. In that particular tournament, it just happened to be the 2003 Worlds. So I just didn't walk into some random event. I walked into an organized event. You had guys like Dave Rojas and Tony Roberts, who were the current world champions. You had Cesar Sala in there. You had the whole ICHA team.
Were these mostly doubles tournaments?
They had singles and doubles. William Polanco, Lefty Willie, he was there. He would happen to be my partner in that particular event. And that was my first career major tournament pro slam, I guess you could call it, because I won the singles and the doubles.
In that tournament?
In that tournament.
And you beat all those guys you just mentioned?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow. Who would you say throughout these tournaments were your toughest competitors?
As far as countries, it has been the Irish. They've been very competitive, but throughout the years, you had teams like Ecuador come out strong. You had Belgium come out strong. The Italians are coming out strong. The guys from Amsterdam, they coming out strong. The French team, surprisingly enough, the Basque Country team, Spain. So it's just, there's no one particular country that's stronger than the other. It's just...
They were all playing one wall, blue ball, big blue ball,
yes.
Handball?
Throughout the world, they agreed that one wall, big ball is the game to play. They have their own distinctive form of handball, which is like pelota vasca, front ball, pelapuño. I've played in all of those. I'm still trying to train in some of those. Considering my size and age at this point in time, is a little rough to learn, but I'm still going at it. In August, I'm trying to go to Cuba to play with the national team there. I was called by a guy in France, Jean Michel, to go participate in Mexico in 2017 in the Olympic Committee over there. Their campgrounds to play in an area called Tepito to play in front ball. So when they called me, I was shocked. I didn't know that I was well known in that aspect to play other sport other than one wall. But the concept was the same. The ball was different, which of course the bounce is different. Then the rules were slightly different. But overall, in general, I had a great time there, and that opened my eyes when I saw my friends from the Ecuadorian team, the Cuban team, the Colombian team. Then we had a couple of people from USA there present, but I made a lot of connections in that particular event, and this is where I have more interest in front ball and pelota vasca.
Why don't you describe that to the people that are watching? What's a front ball?
Well, front ball, there's no killer shots. There's a line about 2 feet above the ground from the bottom of the wall. The lines seem a little bit wider, and definitely the lines are drawn about 6 to 8 inches wide. You serve in comparison to one wall, from the long line, as far as the men. Juniors, they serve from the short line. The ball is definitely harder. It has no bounce. It's like almost hitting like a baseball.
Jesus.
So it's
You
like,
playing it with gloves?
yeah. They have a special taping. It's like a big bandage with a gauze in there. You can use that. You can use different types of gloves. But our gloves here, those padded ones, they're no good, because if you hit it wrong, you're gonna get seriously hurt. My hand was definitely swollen when I was done, and I had some bone bruises as well, because at that point in time, my skill wasn't too good. I was basically playing one wall in that event there, and I gave the best I had.
Are they whipping more of the ball, or are they cupping it? How are they getting it? Because it's so hard.
They're more going like in an angle, kind of like a high line.
Okay.
And they're cupping the ball in a certain way, so the ball kind of seems to roll off their hands.
Gotcha.
Not flat-handed.
It's not flat. It's more. So, I also see that you referee matches, and you know, I've seen a lot of these tournaments recently where, had there be a different ref, there might have been a different outcome. And I'd love to get your perspective on that, because not only a top handball player, but I do see you reffing a lot of these tournaments.
Well, as far as reffing goes, throughout the years I built a reputation of playing clean, fair. I don't recall, like everyone says, I don't cheat, but I really don't. I play for the love of the game. I grew up giving up calls, like they say, so my mentality is, or was, or has been, that if I beat you while you're cheating, then you can't come at me at all. Like, I'm always gonna beat you, because mentally you have to stay strong, physically you have to stay strong, and this game is a lot of physics, but it's more mental, in my opinion. It's like human chess. I gotta be 2 steps ahead of you. So when it comes down to reffing, I guess my resume, as you can call it, of throughout the handball career, and my reputation of not cheating, you go in there with the mentality, I'm not involved, so I have nothing invested in this, I don't care who wins, kind of thing. You're out there because the population playing likes you. They accept you as a clean player. So with all that being said, the experience that I have playing multiple games also, and then being part of UHA, especially now more than ever, part of Legends, with the rules emphasizing, I mean, pretty much my career started with them here at UHA. So
describe UHA.
Our own handball association. The CEO is Tyrone Snell. There's other members involved. They try to get players involved to give their opinion and perspectives. You become a member to the organization, you get free events, you get discounts as far as attire, because everyone's trying to sell, you know, things to try to come up with money for the organization.
Sure.
And also it gives you the opportunity to voice your opinion. If you're interested, like another member, Joanne, If you want to play in the mixed doubles, okay, what date is good for you? Like now we're promoting She Got Game coming up this Saturday.
Yep.
2 versus 1, any category. It could team up 2 girls, whether it's A-B category or AA category, against one guy, whether the guy happens to be a B or A, it doesn't matter. It's more of a opportunity for the women to get involved, because most times the women are getting shortchanged. They don't have enough women events, because sometimes, you know, the women have more things to do as opposed to the men.
Right.
Families, you know, more responsibilities, you know, basically priorities, you know, so we give them the opportunity to come out. When it comes down to comparison, it's an ego thing also. The women are tough. Some of them, they play very strong. So it's a test of, I guess, willpower versus experience, heart to heart. And basically, it just evens out the playing field for everyone. And just come out and have some fun.
My question is, like running a tournament, do you think it's best that the players ref the games, or do you believe that they should have just outside people that know the game but are not involved in the tournament reffing the games?
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it. There's not an organization out there that's just exclusive. Like, I can't call somebody and say, hey, I need your services. So with that being said, depending on what grade level tournament it is, you want to get the opposite grade. If it's a B level, you want to get A players. If you have A players, like myself, I'm staying away from playing singles. So I'm not participating in many singles events because of my size and my age. These young guys play all day, every day, so they have a big advantage. Not that I'm not scared, but I feel like I put in my work and I dirtied my hands throughout my time. I evolved into more of a doubles play. So, like for example, an open singles coming up, I would nominate players that are not involved in the tournament. Also, we have like a very good friend of mine, like Connor Centeno. You could say he's pretty much retired of handball. He does his Buddha tournament all the time. So guys like him,
He's great ref.
yeah, he's very consistent. Another one, Larry.
Lawrence, awesome.
I grew up with him. We've played in a tournament, White Castle event, again hosted by UHA, our own handball association. When he was a B player, he took me and a female out in the finals. So he has experience. He's pretty much firm. He's built his reputation of not quote unquote cheating, not favoritism. Does this make us, you know, superstar pro refs or anything special? No. It's just the fact that we're firm. When you're in the player's point of view, it's the heat of the moment kind of thing. Some people say slick remarks. I've done it also while I'm playing. I don't mean it. So when you're reffing, you gotta be patient. That's the key. A lot of times these guys push your buttons, and it's their moment. It's their 15 minutes of fame. You know, they're getting involved, you know, financially, so everybody must win. You just gotta remember, as a ref, we're kind of like doing them a favor. You know, some of us get paid, some of us don't, but in the end, the money that we're getting paid is not really anything spectacular, because the tournament is like 10 to 12 hours a day, and you're standing there in the heat.
Yeah.
So the factors of, you know, hunger comes into play. I mean, you know, you gotta eat, right? You know, you want breaks. Then other players, they favor, oh, I would like this guy to ref. Then they come evolved into, all the 4 players gotta agree, you know, to change the ref. Then you gotta find another ref, and it's just, we're very limited with the resources that we have.
Do you have any suggestions on what, like say for example, people that throw these tournaments, what do you think they should do to make it the most equitable tournament for all players concerned, not just the favorites?
Rule number 1, read the manual. Throughout time, no one has been giving really courses. A lot of people nowadays all the new faces compared to the older ones. We have the experience. We're there. Sometimes we can't show up on time. Some of us know more of the rule book than others based on experience. These new guys nowadays, these younger generations, they don't take the time out to read a small manual that was created by USHA. We're implementing a couple of changes because there's a couple of things like they're saying it's a gray area. We're trying to define more specific that gray area.
Give me one instance of that gray area.
Okay, appealing of blocks. You cannot appeal a block. If I'm the main ref, there's a purpose of having two line judges on the sides next to me, short line judge, and then a long line judge. The main ref cannot pay attention to everything. And the main focus that needs to be fixed here is the fact that a lot of the line judges are players that were already involved in the games. They want to dry up. They're drinking water. They're trying to eat, trying to do whatever they got to do so they can, because they came with this mentality years ago, winners ref. So that way there's no obstruction of the game and the games continue to flow. Some of those guys really don't pay attention because they're so busy doing other things. So in order for you to stop that, we have to train people that are, I mean, you want to say have no interest in the game other than, watching, making sure that the love of the game is there. Because at the end of the day, bottom line, we're all playing for the love of the game. Whatever prize comes out of it, no one's ever happy, something like that. But, that's the main goal here.
Do you believe that winners should ref the games, or do you believe someone outside of the tournament should ref those games?
I believe that outsiders should be reffing. Players are putting the initiation fees to play. So why give them the responsibility of playing and reffing? Like, I'm not going to the park to work. I'm going to the park or the courts to play. So my focus should be on, okay, look at the chart, who's my next opponent, let me concentrate on them. Just like any other professional sport, when in the playoffs, basketball, okay, we got to focus on this team. Okay, and then when we pass that team, who do we got to focus on next? You don't see those guys over there. Every team, every sport has their managers, has their trainers, has their medics, has everything. Granted, we're not as big as those sports, and financially we don't have it like that, but we do try to carry ourselves like that.
Do you feel that it's hard to be impartial being a player in the tournament and also reffing the game? Because maybe that guy is about to play you, or that team's about to play you, so forth.
Yes and no. Yes, because you want to see your friend win. No, because maybe you don't want to play your friend because maybe your record against your friend might be lower than his, or whatever the case is. It's just too many other details, like things that get involved that has nothing to do with the game. Those are things that happen on the sidelines. So again, you're basically going to play. You're not going to work. You don't see a boxer boxing and then calling, okay, counting himself out for the count or whatever the case is. So things like that. Just gotta keep clean.
What about disqualifications and blacklisting or banning players because of attitudes? What do you feel? We don't have to be
banning anybody unless somebody physically gets hurt. I don't think they should be banned. Freedom of speech, as long as you don't get too personal, you're entitled to say whatever you want.
How about if they touch? How about if they touch each other?
No, then that's automatically. I mean, you're pretty much assaulting somebody. So if it's illegal by law, why shouldn't it be legal? To a sport.
And you believe that they should be blacklisted from that particular tournament and future tournaments?
Yes, to an extent, yes. Because
how long? How long do you think?
See, that's all like a decision where the head organizer should get involved and be like, listen, we don't want you here anymore participating with us because, you know, to the degree that what you did. I'll see you in the next event, and if things change, then okay. I'm one of those guys that I was given a second chance in life, so I believe in giving others second chances. But bottom line, you know, that person, you don't know their mentality. And this is where I say yes and no, because they could be having some personal issues at home, bring it to the courts, something goes wrong, and now they're taking it out, and that's just human nature on the wrong person.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? But I mean, things happen as long as, again, you don't physically hurt somebody, then I don't see no reason, because, you know, again, it comes down to freedom of speech.
Would you, if someone did touch someone during a tournament and it was your tournament, would you let them come back next year if they apologized?
Yes. Next year, yes. Tournaments are constantly thrown. You can always participate in some other organization events if they choose to allow you to, because again, there's no obligation to you joining an event. You don't have to play in whatever event I'm throwing or I'm helping for, or whatever the case is. There's always other players out there. Also, the players can have a say in it, you know? Basically, I felt threatened or not or whatever, you know, because they're the ones that are playing with that person that you know, that's in question. So, would I build my reputation on one guy? Okay, I'll let it slide. If I see that it's it becomes a routine or a habit where every time there's one particular person comes in and it's just a negative vibe, I'll be like, listen, you know, you're not allowed to play. It's a public park. Even if I have permits, I'll probably still let you stay in the park area, because again, you know, the park's for everyone. But if I have a permit, I can actually have you removed. That's the reason why I have a permit, because I'm securing everyone's safety.
If you have like an aggressive player you're about to ref a game for, what type of guidelines or stipulations or, you know, admonishment would you give them before they started? Would you give them some type of warning, or would you be like, how would you say, hey, don't mess around with me, you know?
I would just tell them, listen, good luck. You all know the rules, otherwise you wouldn't be playing. You wouldn't be the skill level that you are. I tell them right off the bat, because some certain rules, like there's no stepping over the short line. I tell everybody, I don't want anyone touching the line. I'm calling it short, you know, so let it be known now. I try to tell them, listen, don't antagonize the other players. Play your game, let your hands do the talking. You know, if you're not gonna play and you're gonna get into that argument, I'm not here to be your dad. I'm not here to, you know, I guess be the savior. I mean, some people, they get more aggressive than others. So with that being said, just play your game. And, you know, you are playing for a prize. You're trying to move on forward. So if we gotta stop and we gotta talk to you again, bottom line, we're adults. We could just have you removed off the premises. We can return your entry fee. We could work something out where everyone's happy and you're forfeited or whatever the case is. The next team moves forward, and that's the end of that. You lead by example, and it's happened already in the past a few times. Other organizations, they banned others, blacklisted or whatever, a certain amount of time. I've never been one of those guys that been asked to not participate. So, you know, basically you're a grown adult. Act like one, you know? If not, then we would have just dealt with, you know, all the negative stuff and not been where we are today.
So currently, like, what tournaments do you play in yourself, besides your travel tournaments, the local ones?
I play a lot of doubles events, because again, my size, my speed, I'm slower, my age. When I was younger, there were a lot more singles events than they are now. It evolved to where there's doubles games, tournaments all over now, because it gives the opportunity for more players. Games seem to run faster. Instead of 2 people, you got 4 people playing. So throughout time, I guess you could say I became a doubles master.
What age do you feel like you kind of said to yourself, you know, I'm gonna move over to doubles, or I'm gonna
I want to say about 27, 28. It wasn't that I chose to move over. I was kind of like moved over by obligation, because again, the amount of players that in the 90s that came out to light, like these parks were flooded with players. Nobody wanted to wait all day for one singles game. One singles game, depending on who you played, could have taken 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you want to wait 3 hours for a 15-minute game, or give 4 players the opportunity to play in a half-hour game. So that's the direction that it just went all on its own. It evolved.
And what are your favorite parks to play in?
My favorite parks, depending on what state.
How about New York?
Here in New York, I want to say my old neighborhood park, which is 85th Street. Now that that park is the latest park to be remodeled. IS-10, Elmhurst, Broadway. We play more at Broadway now, considering that the courts aren't the best. Liberty Park. A lot of players. We used to play at 106 in Atlantic. Then we moved over to 88 in Atlantic because they got more courts there. But you would mainly find me in North Queens area, Jackson Heights or Elmhurst Parks, right around there.
I do see you play in Long Island at A1 a lot.
Yeah, I currently reside in Long Island. I live 15 minutes away, and I grew up in Zariga. I grew up in LaGuardia playing, and after a while we had Astoria, but they shut it down.
What indoor courts do you seem to like in the winter?
More now, A1, because it's closer to home.
He has some good courts.
The courts, the owner Jay, to me, in my opinion, he's like a perfectionist. You're paying for something, he's trying his best to give it to you. Clean environment, bright, as best as possible. Everything. Like, he won't allow you to play with shoes on that'll mark the floors. So he's really on his taking care of the gym type of thing. And also the fact that I'm like 15 minutes away, so I could get a game there because he runs it 24/7. He does the honor system. Every now and then you got a guy that might forget to pay or whatever in the middle of the night or whatever, but that's something we can grow out of and keep moving forward. The guys that generally go there, they go there to play. So I get my 2-3 games in, I go home, and then the next day go back to work and do whatever I gotta do. But A1 is my spot for now.
And where do you see the future of handball going?
On a worldwide level, everyone's talking about getting their countries ready, representing in the Olympics. There's a lot of conversations taking place. The federations out there, KNKB, GAA,
they're banging on doors.
They're pretty much, to my awareness, I believe there's about 38 countries or so, something of that kind, in conversations, bringing the opportunity, presenting it to their country's Olympic Committee. Again, like I said, I've played in the Mexican Olympic Committee. I'm half Colombian. I've been to the Colombian Olympic Committee. So the representation is there. A lot of it has to do with recognition, because we changed the name handball to wallball, and we changed it because there's already a game called handball in the Olympics. Completely different rules, and the whole setup is different. But we're growing the population. It's a worldwide thing, but it's also a small thing at the same time, because you got to get these young kids training as of pretty much today. There's no age to start off at. You can start at any age. Like GAA, they've been doing their thing. You got the Belgium team. You got Team Netherlands doing their thing. Like, you have a lot of organizations getting involved. UK Wallball, European, they're out there doing a European league. I ran into them, I met them in 2009, and I'm currently participating with them. So I see what they're doing, and they're coming along very well. So the game's growing fast, the population's growing faster. It's just, we need that I guess, political view and the opportunity to be presented. And then the chosen few, I guess by skill level, by age, or whatever situation it may be, takes into play. But we're pretty much there.
Coaches, schools, some type of organization to, you know, like almost like a farm league to cultivate these players.
The European League, they're integrating. GAA already started. The Kill Shot, which is the Belgium team, Netherlands, they have training facilities.
Mm-hmm.
They're out there really, like the youth is out there after school, go train 2-3 hours, have them exercise 2-3 times a week. Other countries like the Ecuadorian team, they're out there playing. They're out there training in the sun because they have the great weather, so they don't have to go indoors. So depending on what country you're talking about, like Argentina is another big country, Peru, Bolivia, they're out there in the heat playing. So their training is different than training, for example, let's say somewhere in Europe. You know, in Europe, facilities. Here in New York, we have about 2,000 courts or so. We could train indoor and outdoor. So depending on the season, depending on the day. So there's no excuse. What country you're at, you can play.
Are you playing throughout the whole year, or do you take breaks throughout?
I take breaks. On an international thing, like for example, I was in Netherlands in January, UK in February. I was supposed to go to Palermo, Italy in March, but because of work I couldn't. I already have flights booked to go to Spain, Valencia in September. October, I'm looking forward to trying to go to Ecuador again for the 10th anniversary. And then I'm definitely going to Kill Shot in November. That's in Belgium.
What would you give as advice to like the young people that are just about to start playing or interested in playing?
Train. Be serious about it, because the pioneers, the legends, the players before you are leading the path to possibly your success. Stay positive, both on your personal life and on the courts. Bottom line, with all this technology, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all these other things going on, you never know who's watching. Like for example, this video, I don't know where it's gonna be the final outcome to it, but I might get a call someday, hey, get me that guy. Like I got the call, like I was saying earlier, about the guy who invited me to play in his tournament in front row on the Mexican Olympic Committee. That was totally unexpected, and I was overwhelmed and very happy about it. So again, you never know who's watching. While you're out there, try to keep as professional as you can. Always maintain your cool. And this is coming from someone who grew up in a hot-headed era. Because some people only see the small things, they don't see the whole picture. I've seen both sides because I've traveled a lot. And traveling, it's not like here, our events here. Here we have cash prizes. I'm pulling out money to go out and play for a trophy. So this is where it comes into play. Just stay focused, you know. Sooner or later, the worst thing that can happen is you built a handball resume and you played something you love, which at bottom line, it was the love of the game, and that's what brought you to the game.
Thanks for coming out today. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all of your positive feedback about the sport.
Thank you for having me.